Hey guys, welcome back. We are in the month of November now, and I know we've talked about my perfection issues, let's call them challenges. That's it. We're going to call them challenges. And it is no different during the holidays. I have a tendency to want things to be perfect. You know, I stress, I worry, I plan, I do all the things. But that's very much how my mom was when I was growing up. Anyone else feel the holiday stress? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Soulful Wanderings, the space where we search for meaning in everyday life and honor the lessons that help us grow. I'm Heather and I'm your host. And before we get started, we would love it if you would subscribe to our podcast. You can also head over to our socials and follow us there, and I will be putting all of that in the show notes. And as a quick reminder about our Healing Lens email series, this is through my lens. I capture images and stories that become prompts for your own healing journey. You can sign up for that to receive the Healing Lens emails. You can do that on the website, which is soulfulwanderings.com. I will put that in the show notes as well. So back to my perfection challenges. Is that what we call them? Perfection challenges. That seems right. So looking back, I really discovered that my mom was just a wee bit OCD. Can't imagine where I got that from. But she liked things just so, right? Things were organized and she wanted them to stay that way, basically. Everything had its place. And I know now that that was probably about control. There were so many things in her life that she couldn't control that, my guess is, again, looking back on it, that she probably was basically latching on to things that she could control. Sound familiar to anyone out there? Yeah, that's what I figured. And the truth is, this went into just about everything in her life. Again, that I can recall, the things that I was aware of. And for some reason, I remember things like clothes and meals. I don't know why I remember those two things, but those stand out for me when I think about these things, thinking about mom. For instance, clothes washing day, ended with all the clothes in their place and items that needed to be ironed were on hangers like little soldiers in our closet, ready to go. Meals were always perfect. We never ate off the stove or out of a pot, which I can't even... I almost can't imagine doing that at my house now. I think we only don't eat off the stove if it's a special occasion. Do you know what I'm saying? But with mom, everything was on the table. It was in, some sort of serving bowl, plattered, whatever. And all the pots that had been used to cook were already washed and put away. Y'all, it was crazy. And it was my life. It was what I was used to. So I'm sure you can imagine that the holidays were no exception. And she loved with capital letters Christmas, right? The meal, I'm telling you, y'all, the meal she prepared could feed an army. It truly could. Cornbread dressing, ham, all the sides. Let me back up to the cornbread dressing for just a second and make sure you understand. For those of you that's not part of your tradition, ours had, I think a lot of people do this, but she put chicken in the dressing. It was a whole chicken, deboned chicken that was in there. So when I tell you the cornbread dressing itself could be a meal, it was just, it was a sight to behold. I'm telling you, it really was. Anyway, I digress. Back to the meal, the desserts. Everyone got what they liked. There were only 5 of us in the family. Okay. We didn't need 5 desserts, but we got them. And it was because she wanted everyone to be happy, right? She wanted to take care of us. I can remember times where I would stop right outside the door of the kitchen or wherever she was, generally the kitchen. And I loved to listen to her. She would hum often, or sing really softly while she was cooking. She would hum really through a lot of those tasks that she had around the holidays. And I don't know about you guys, but in my house, you always had to kind of make the rounds on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. You had to go visit, right? We did one day at my dad's folks, and then the other day was at my mom's mom. Her dad passed away long before I was even born. So for me, it was always going to see my granny. Um, and I understand now the stress that she was under to make all that happen. Of course, then as a kid, I didn't fully understand what all she was trying to do, but she was trying to make all these things happen. And on top of that, she was trying to make it special for us and to give us time to just be kids and play with our toys and just be together as our family. Um, she never showed it much, the stress, like I said, because I don't think I was fully aware. But looking back, those are some of the few times that you kind of saw the cracks in the armor, was when she was trying to make all this happen. Okay, so telling my age a little bit here, but that's okay. Back in the day, and I don't know if there's any folks out there that remember this, but they made a really big deal out of tracking Santa on the radio on Christmas Eve. And I know they'll do that some now, or at least I think they do, on our local TV stations. They'll track him. But back then, they would do it on the radio in particular. And I remember Mom would always running around getting us ready to leave and whatnot. And she would send us outside with our dad. I think his job was to entertain us while we waited for her. And of course, it felt like it would take forever for her to come out. But to me, I had no idea what she was doing. I assumed she was just doing mom things because Mom was always busy. So all during the drive, going, whatever grandparents were going to, we would listen to Santa being tracked on the radio. And of course, they'd make a big deal out of it and get us all excited and whatever. And then when we would get home, Santa had come. And we had this super long couch in the living room. I can't even remember how long it was. It was something like an 8-foot couch. So to me, that was super long. And when we would get home again, it was full of gifts. Our gifts were all kind of spread out across this couch. Mine would be on one side, my sisters were on the other. And that was a time when we were younger, and she didn't wrap anything, right? It was just all out there for us to see, and it was glorious when you walked in the door. Now I know that Santa came on Christmas Eve, and we were allowed to see that because we had to get up early the next morning and get ready to leave because we had to, of course, go to the other grandparents' house. And now I know, of course, why she was taking forever to come to the car. And as I got older, the gifts we wrapped, I think we moved them to Christmas morning and did gifts then. We could usually convince her to let us do one Christmas Eve night, though. But Mom was always sort of bustling around the weeks leading up to Christmas, right? And now, as I'm older, as I'm an adult, I get it. As I'm a mom now, and of course I'm an adult now, and I understand what she was doing. Of course, then I didn't, but now I know that she was prepping, she was cooking, she was shopping, she was doing all the things. But to me, back then, I just knew she was busy, but she was in a good mood. She was in this great mood, right? She was always humming, and she seemed to like being busy, right? She liked planning. She liked making things perfect for us. Now, let me tell you though, she was not afraid to delegate those responsibilities, especially as we got older. I love to tell people this. I don't know why, but she used to make me help wrap her gifts. She would put everything in boxes. She would get these Christmas boxes and everything went in there, so it's not as if you could see what it was, okay? And then she would write the person's name on the box, and then she would hand it to me to wrap it. A little assembly line going on. So one day she hands me one with my name on it. And of course, I became very dramatic and indignant because I was a teenager. And I was like, Mom, this is mine. And she goes, yeah, all calm, like, and I'm all, Mom, you made me wrap my own gifts. And she's like, oh, good grief, just wrap. She ended up claiming it was because I was good at it. Sure, I call bullshit. I was just the captive audience. This was before I was really driving, and we lived kind of far from where most of my friends were. And, it's not like today where you're glued to a phone. Cell phones didn't even exist then. So we weren't glued to a phone or running the roads. I was on break from school, I'm sure. So I was home, which meant I was free labor. Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The trouble she went to, though, she was so thoughtful, and she worked so hard to get each of us things that we wanted or really matched our personality. She was a great gift giver. And of course, as we got older, the gifts were often clothes. Again, different time, electronics and things just weren't a thing. Winter clothes were a great gift, get us ready for the next season. But the ones that I really remember are the ones that were fun. And like I said, she loved music. So did we. She had pushed us both into piano lessons very young, and we both loved to sing and things like that. And I remember one year she got us these little Yamaha keyboards, not the fancy ones. It was probably whatever you could buy at Sears at the time. Y'all remember Sears? It was kind of the big department store then. You got the Christmas catalog every year, and you went through and picked what you wanted. But you could get anything at Sears, and that was a place that she often shopped. And I can't remember what she did now, but I remember the keyboards weren't there, kind of under the tree when we opened them. I feel like she gave us a hint, maybe. But the point is, she had hidden the keyboards. And y'all, let me tell you, I've never seen my sister move that fast. She literally vaulted over the end of the couch to get past all of us because we were in the way, to get to her room. And Mom knew, of course, that she couldn't buy one for my sister and not one for me. So we both got one. And y'all, she had wrapped those things and put them under each of our beds to hide them. They had been there for like a month. What she didn't know, though, is that she got one too. Again, as we got older, Dad would frequently give us money and have us shop for him, for Mom. He was very typical of a man of his generation. He'd always bought jewelry or a piece of furniture or something like that. He really didn't have a clue and really didn't know how to shop for her or for us either. But that year he had asked us to get her a keyboard. I think maybe he asked my sister to do it. I'm not sure exactly how he pulled that off. I can't remember now. He knew about ours, but he never spoiled the secret of ours. And her face was all I needed to see. Mom had done so much for us, and she was always doing so much to take care of us, that it was amazing to just see her face and to see that kind of, gotcha moment. We knew we got her. We knew we had surprised her. And I'm going to tell you about one more that we did. There was, I thought this one was even better. I would often buy little gifts for my friends, for their birthday. And of course I was a young, probably tween, getting into younger teen years. So it was often a little stuffed animal, a little plushie. And if it was cute, I can't tell you how many times my mom would promptly take it from me. She'd be like, oh, that's really cute. And then she would just take it. And she'd be like, here's the money for it. Go get another one. I'm keeping it. Mom. But it was actually kind of sweet and cute that she wanted them. And she had a little pile of little teddy bears that were on her, little plushies, that were on her bed. But one year there was this stuffed animal that, from what I remember, it was super popular then. I think it was called a frou frou. Y'all don't laugh at me. Frou. Frou was the name of it from what I remember. And there were these little white plushies, but they had hair that was different colors. And I think one, we had a bright, that had bright blue, and one that had bright pink. I think I had one that actually then had white hair. The hair was kind of like, the troll dolls, the hair that they have that kind of just stands straight up. So when you would kind of shake him because you could play with his hair, but then when you would shake him, his hair would stand back up. It was adorable. They were like little average size, like 8 to 10 inches, I guess. Anyway, I wanted one, and Mom ended up buying one for me and my sister, but she put it in this big box, like 4 or 5 times the size of the little plushie, right? It was a big box, but they matched. Um, the paper even matched from what I remember. She made sure they were the same size so that we wouldn't know. Well, in the midst of all this, I decided I wanted to get Mom one. So my dad helped us scheme. I think he told us what was going on because from what I remember, I knew what was in the box. Um, or maybe I didn't. Maybe he just helped us scheme to get a box that size. Anyway, we found another plushie. We found a box the same size. We wrapped it the same way and put it under the tree. So that, that Christmas morning, she's like, "What did y'all do?" And she knew something was up when she saw that same size box. And there was kind of a mix of being, I'm going to say mildly pissy that Dad had spoiled her surprise, and gratitude that we had gone to so much trouble to take care of her and that she had been included in the surprise. Now, hear me, we weren't rich by any means when I was growing up. We were doing okay. We're comfortable. We had what we needed and a fair amount of what we wanted, but we were by no means rich. And Mom always got us kind of way more than we needed each year. She overspent. I think that's where I get it. But one year she told us girls, we just don't have it this year. Her words were, "Christmas won't be much this year." And of course, we both immediately were very encouraging. We didn't care. We're like, "Mom, don't worry about it. We don't care. We don't need gifts. We have plenty." And here's the truth, though. She had said that before. And even though she would say it, there wouldn't be much. But there always was because she always found a way. Or I think maybe she felt like it was never enough. I'm not sure. So to be honest, though, we weren't sure what was really happening or if that was real. But the truth is, we really didn't care. If that's the way it went, fine. We were fine. We really didn't care. So it got to be the week of Christmas, and Dad went to the register and handed her some money. We owned our own business, y'all. That's kind of how we did that. That's how we got cash and things. But and he was like, "Here, go shopping." And she was like, "Let's go before he changes his mind." So here we went off to the mall, which was packed. It might have been Christmas Eve. I'm trying to remember, but it was right at Christmas. So the mall was a nightmare. But when we went, we kind of went for the things that we needed more than anything. Like I said, back then you got clothes and things like that for Christmas. So we needed tennis shoes and things like that. So that was going to be what we got, was getting a new pair of shoes. And she even sort of tricked me and asked me to try on this coat, claiming she needed to see what size I was for something else. Turns out she had actually already bought that coat for me, sent my sister to the car to hide it from me. But then when I tried it on, it was the wrong size. So my sister had to go back, get the coat out of the car, come back, exchange it for the right size, go put the new one back in the car, all while hiding it from me. I found that out later, but it kind of got me tickled because my sister was very exasperated all of a sudden, and I didn't know why. And then later she told me the story. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry you had to go that much trouble. But it was a beautiful, the brand is London Fog. I don't know if anybody knows that, but especially back then, that was the overcoat to have. They were absolutely beautiful. And in fact, I still own that coat. It does not fit me anymore, but it is still hanging in my closet. But y'all, we giggled and laughed and just cut up the whole time. The whole time we were there, we would just look at each other, and over the silliest things, we would just bust out laughing and giggling. And I remember at one point being in one of the shoe stores. I guess I was getting my tennis shoes, I think. And the guy that was helping me, he looked at me and he's like, "You guys really have fun together, don't you?" And I remember stopping and just kind of staring at him for a second before I was like, "Yeah, we do." Look, I'm like, I think I'm tearing up over this because later in my life was when I was really becoming friends with my mom, you know, and then all of a sudden she was gone. And I just wish I had figured all that out earlier. Um, but we did have fun. And when he said that, it just hit me what a blast we were having. The Christmas that was going to be nothing was turning into so much fun. And those are the Christmases I remember. I don't remember every perfect meal. I don't remember every perfect gift. I remember the ones that were fun, that had nothing to do with being perfect, but it was just about us being together. But fast forward to now, and I'm discovering that I am just like her. I absolutely love finding the perfect gift. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love making the perfect meal. That holiday meal, it needs to be special, right? It needs to be important. It's a special meal. And it's not just about Christmas per se. It's about that's the time that we're all together. And it needs to be perfect. And I actually still use a lot of her recipes. I still make that cornbread dressing every year. I've gotten better about the amount of food. My husband has helped me with that. We've really realized that what we wanted to do to make it special and what was really necessary. There's three of us. Sometimes we have people over with us, but even then it's rare that it's, sometimes it's 5 people. One year I think we had about 12 and we didn't have to increase one thing that we were cooking. If that tells you anything, we were good. I think we asked for an additional side dish. That was it though. So yeah, but we've gotten much better about it so that we don't waste and that we make what's more necessary. So when I look back on this, I wonder where some of it came from with Mom. And I remember her telling me one time, as I'd gotten older, that she actually had wanted to be a nurse when she was younger, but she gave it up to have us, was the way she put it. And y'all, I had guilt for that for years. But later I realized and I accepted that that's not really what she meant by it. She wasn't trying to make me feel bad about it, but it was about a choice that she had made. And I had to respect that choice. And I was grateful that she had taken the time and done what she did to raise us and to teach us. And I also realized that with that choice of what she wanted to do, that, and watching what she did all my life, she had a heart for service and she really loved to take care of others. And of course, Christmas is a perfect time to do that. But was the rest of it, the other times of year, was that about control? Was Christmas about control? Was the rest of the year when she was like that about control? Was it all about controlling the situation? Do I do it because I saw her do it? Did I learn my coping mechanisms from watching her? So now I'm going to ask you guys, how do you handle things like holiday stress? Does it feel like it has to be perfect for you? And is it just at the holidays that you feel like that? So I'm finding myself really reflecting on this and, trying to discern why I feel like I need to have this control specifically at the holidays. And I would encourage you to explore this part of your personality as well. It might help you at this holiday time or even beyond this time. I have a few journal prompts for you. These are ones that I'm kind of working on and looking at. And if you do work through these and have a fabulous revelation, I would love if you would share it with us. You can go to our socials and do that. So here are the prompts, and I'm gonna put these in the show notes too, so you can find them later. So first, where did I learn my holiday rules? Is it family? Is it culture? Is it religion? Is it from social media? And which of those rules still serve me? Which of them feel heavy? So next, what does perfect secretly promise me? Is it control? Is it safety? Is it approval? Is it belonging? Is there a kinder way to get that need met? At number 3, consider making a memory map. Here you'll list 3 holidays that you fondly remember, and then look at what made those special. Here's a hint. It may have been, or most likely it was people, or maybe it was that you played more, or maybe because there was a big surprise. Next, look at what does your stress signature look like? Is it behaviors? Is it thoughts? Is it body cues? And what's your early warning light for that happening? Number 5 is more about the stress part. What are 3 permission slips that you need this year? For example, a smaller menu. Maybe you're going to arrive late or leave early. More time for yourself. Maybe it's going to be store-bought sides instead of all the time to prep a homemade side. Maybe you're going to put a cap on your gift buying, gift giving. Maybe it's going to be paper plates instead of fine china. What are the 3 that would help you reduce your stress? Next, if you did 1/3 less this season than you normally do, what would you stop doing first? What would be the first thing that you would cut back on? And lastly, after the season is over, how will you measure success? Try things like, did we connect? Did I connect with others? Did we laugh? Did we have a really memorable event happen? I hope these thoughts can help you. They're certainly ones that I am reflecting on and working on this holiday season. But I hope these thoughts can move you forward and toward a holiday that focuses more on being present than perfect. And again, I'm going to put this information in the show notes so that you can find it, easily and, go back and really take some time with it. I'm also got some actions that you can take that I'm going to add there. So take a look at the show notes later. We are focusing on the holidays today. That's what we're talking about. So I want you to start here, but don't be afraid to visit this again after the holidays as well with a little bit different spin on it. Because most likely you're probably seeing behavior that bleeds to other parts of your life as well. So I truly encourage you to work on the holidays. Let's focus here and then come back and visit some of these thoughts again. I want to leave you with one final thought today. May this season be smaller but truer. May the moments that matter find you. Not because you performed them into being, but because you were there to receive them.